Hi, everyone. This is Alecia Stringer with 2asuccessstreamblog.com, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about Roger Holmes. I met him through a great friend, Kareem Williams, and he has brought lots of value, and we've really learned from each other. And I want to share that with you today. Hi, Roger.
Hi, Alecia. How are you?
Great. I want to get started in this interview and tell people more about the background of you getting started in network marketing, maybe how long you've been in network marketing and what reasons you got in, just a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, sure. Well, I'll do the edited version.
Great.
Well, I started honestly back in 1996 with a financial services company, pretty well-known financial services company, and I was taught the traditional, method of, prospecting and reaching people. You reach out to your friends and your family, and you make a list of 100 people, and people who aren't necessarily interested in necessarily what you're talking about, but you're told to do that anyway, and you go through the numbers and you go through all the rejection of people telling you no, I'm not interested, and just the whole plethora of what most people today call old school network marketing. Going to the different department stores, hanging out in parking lots, and trying to meet people, trying to generate leads for your business. And after getting beat up quite a bit, I kind of realized that there had to be a better way. This is, it took me about 8, 9, 10 years to figure that out. Had a little bit of success with that, but not a whole lot, not the success that I really wanted to have. And so that led me to jump online and to try to find out a better way to reach people. I figured millions of people are going online every day. There had to be a better way to leverage my business. So I did that. I jumped online and I think I remember the search term I used when I went to Google was make money online, and that opened up a whole bunch of stuff. That was a whole other can of worms that was open, and I saw quite a few different things. And this was a couple of years ago, which led me to a marketing system that a lot of people know about, a marketing platform, which has a tremendous amount of training in it. There's some great leaders in there, and like I said, there's a plethora of training on a lot of different ways to market your business and to brand yourself on the front end, as opposed to marketing your business on the front end. And also a way to make money even if people don't join your business. So I thought this was brilliant. So I joined, and I had a little bit of success with that as well. So here we are today, and I'm still using that system. I'm still using that system, and I'm still having some success with that system. But I'm in another network marketing company now, but I also understand, how to market myself as opposed to marketing my primary company. I know how to market and brand myself and bring value to the marketplace, which then attracts people to me as opposed to me trying to run and chase after people. And I think that's a little bit more of how you would want things to be, as opposed to, using more energy to chase people down to try and be in your business who really don't want anything at all to do with your business. So that's a little bit about my story.
Great. Yeah, coming from not knowing anything to just being taught and just learning the education through the journey that you take. That's great.
Yeah.
Tell me, our second question we have is, what ways are you marketing online now?
Oh, okay. Well, there are a lot of different ways that you can market, but to be more specific and to answer your question, right now I'm using my blog as a central hub, and I'm using article marketing, and I'm also using video marketing. Article marketing via my blog. I write a blog post, and then I turn that into an article, and then I syndicate that to several different locations. I use video marketing because if you go on Google and you type in a search term and you see several listings, but then you also see a video, I think you're more apt to watch the video as opposed to reading a bunch of text. And I think that's been proven that most people will rather watch a how-to via video as opposed to reading a how-to. You know, a lot of people are visual learners. I know I am. So videos resonate more with me, and I know they resonate with a lot of other people. So video marketing is a lot more effective than most other marketing techniques that are out there, and that's why I use that. And those are the two primary sources of marketing that I'm using today.
Great. This can be very powerful, and just bringing people through your system and learning more about you. That's great. Our third question, tell us more about the pros and cons of Internet marketing and network marketing.
That's a great question. Some of the pros of network marketing, again, it's leveraging other people and it's leveraging their resources as opposed to just your own. I don't know the exact quote, but someone said something along the lines of, I'd rather use 1% of 100 people's effort as opposed to 100% of my efforts. And I think that kind of defines the leverage that, you know, that's available to you when you're using the network marketing business model. You're leveraging, again, a team of people that have a lot more reach than a single individual. So that's why I think those are one of the pros of network marketing and Internet marketing. Internet network marketing is kind of the same thing, but I think that's even more expanded because you have a greater reach. You have a global reach. You don't just have a local reach. Network marketing, kind of the old school method, you have to go person to person, belly to belly, and that kind of limits you somewhat to your reach. But when you take it on to the Internet, you have people from all over the world while you're sleeping connecting with you or possibly connecting with you. And that expands your reach even the more. So those are two of the pros that I see with network marketing and Internet network marketing. Some of the cons network marketing presents is their lack of the second part of that, those twins, network marketing. There's most MLM companies kind of drop the ball with the marketing part of it. They market their company, or they teach you to market their company, but we all know that a lot of companies start up, but there are not a lot of companies that make it. And so when that company fails or goes under, what are you to do? You have to start all over again with a brand new company, and you lose the list of people that you probably had, so you have to start all over from the ground up. So if you've marketed and branded yourself, then people know who you are and they're attracted to you, and so starting over won't be so devastating to you if you have a brand out there that's been established. But, you know, most network marketing companies don't teach you that. They just want you to market their brand, their company. And so the marketing aspect of network marketing is, I think, the biggest con or negative when it comes to network marketing. A con when it comes to Internet marketing, I think the biggest one is information overload and being unfocused, you know, in your marketing strategies and not choosing one or two, you know. I think most people come online and they see, you know, a variety of ways to market their business, and they just get overloaded. They try one marketing strategy for a week, and it doesn't work to the degree that they think it should work, and then they'll start another marketing strategy for a week, and it doesn't work to the degree that they think it should work, and there's this endless cycle or they'll buy an info product that has all the answers to their problems, and they'll try that for a week. And again, nothing is going to, give you a level of success within a week or 2 weeks or even a month. There has to be some consistency, in place when you try these tools and when you try these marketing strategies. You have to implement consistency along with the techniques that you're taught. And if you just don't, lose sight of the bigger picture, which is, 3 or 4 months down the road or maybe 6 months down the road, then you'll be okay. But I think the biggest thing is, again, trying too many strategies at one time and not sticking to, one strategy long enough to allow it to be effective. And that's what I've found. I've been a victim of it myself, so I know exactly what that feels like.
Exactly. I think that's like going in the grocery store. You have your list, you know exactly what you want, but there's something else there that you might use too, and people get that distraction and try that out. I might try that out this week, and then it just goes snowball from there.
Right. Yeah, it's like going to the grocery store, like you said, going to the grocery store without a list of items that you need. You just go into the grocery store. People tell you not to go grocery shopping when you're hungry because you'll overshop. You'll buy more than what you need. And that's exactly the same mentality that a lot of people take into internet marketing. They're hungry for success. They're hungry for leads. They're hungry for, trying to generate an income online, so they overindulge in information. And I think that's very typical. Most people just don't know. So since they're hungry and that hunger hasn't been satisfied in a week, they say, well, this isn't working, so I'll jump on the next thing, and they get caught up in that loop, and it can cost you a lot of money, it can cost you a lot of time, and it can cost you success, because some people quit in that cycle. Some people will never see success because they'll try 2 or 3 strategies and they'll think that it doesn't work. They'll think it's all hype and it's all, just fluff, and they'll give up, and they'll get discouraged and they'll quit. And that's not the case at all. They just they overshopped. They went into the grocery store hungry, and that's the last place you need to be when you're hungry, because you're going to spend more money and you're going to buy more than what you need. And that's exactly what happens online.
Great information. Thank you so much. Our next question is, do you feel a big difference between product-based company and a service-based company?
A big difference. I think that a lot of them are the same, because I think a lot of products are services, because they're, take a health and wellness company, for instance. Now, it kind of depends. Again, it does depend on the product, and if it is actually successful in what it claims it does. But let's just take, a juice, for example, or a shake, for example. Now, this shake claims that it's, going to help you lose weight. It's going to help you feel more energy. If it does that, then it is a service, because you didn't have the energy before. You had excessive weight before. So, in essence, this product has served you in the capacity of helping you lose weight, in the capacity of increasing your energy, as opposed to, just taking it, and it's kind of what's the term when it's oh gosh, I was trying to think of the term when they're testing people and they give people actual medicine as a placebo. That's the word I was looking for. As opposed to being a placebo where there's nothing in it at all. It's just, it may taste good, but there's no benefit to it. But there are, I guess, service-based companies, like I said, financial services, but even they refer to their services, the individual modules of service, they refer to those as products. Whether it be a product that saves you money, or a product that's life insurance. They call those products. So I don't know. They may start out and use that disclaimer or use that term. We're a product-based company or we're a service-based company, but I think at the end of the day, it all kind of funnels down to being the same thing. We all want products that serve us, whatever those needs may be, because the reason we buy them, there's a need. There's a need to lose weight. There's a need to save money. There's a need to have a financial plan. There's a need, to have legal services. There's a need, I don't know. There's a need to have Tupperware. There's a need to have makeup. There's a need, I see a need, so this product is going to serve that need. So I think there's a overlap, when it comes to those two terminologies, that product companies and service companies, I think they're one and the same. They just differentiate. They choose to use those terms to maybe differentiate themselves from one another. So they're all grouped in the same, bucket, so to speak. That's my opinion.
Great. Thank you. Excellent points there. Our next question is, how do you struggle between juggling the family and business?
Wow. You use a very good term. I think struggle is a good word because I don't think it's ever easy. You see videos and you see images of people, with their families who are, quote unquote, very successful in business. You see them walking along the beach, smiling, holding hands, and you see them, in their nice homes, and you see a captured image of that moment, where everything is great, everything looks beautiful, everything is in sync. But I think the reality of it is there's still a certain amount of struggle to maintain that. That's a photo opportunity, to project a certain image. But I don't know if that's a ongoing reality of what, people actually deal with on a daily basis. I think that there's always a struggle to maintain, lifestyle, a healthy balance in your lifestyle, rather, with your family and your business. I just recently, to make this a little personal, I just recently realized that I didn't have a day set aside for my family. I took pockets of time and spent with my family, but I didn't have a day allotted just for my family. And I just realized that, I think I was talking to you earlier, Alecia, about my coaching session, and that's one of the things that my coach and I talked about was setting aside some time, strictly for my family, a day where I walk away from my computer, and I kind of, just monitor my phone, to really non-business or to have to be like an emergency basis type, situation where I answer my phone. Other than that, all that time is dedicated to my family because they need me. I mean, what is the point? I mean, my whole purpose, or one of my purposes, is to spend more time with my family, And I also made another realization. During the day, I can actually spend more time with my kids. I can be a little bit more active because I'm full-time in my business. I can be a little bit more active with my kids, as far as the school system goes. I can dedicate a little bit more time, whether it be an hour or 2 hours, towards, my children, in their education. And so that was something else that, I think it's an ongoing struggle. Like I said, I don't think there's a perfect scenario where it's always, going to be roses, where it's always going to work out just perfectly. I think there is a struggle because we're human. We forget. We can set, timers, and we can have a schedule, but things happen. Life happens. And sometimes you forget to pick up those roses. Sometimes you may even be working and forget, unfortunately you can actually forget that your kids are getting out of school and you need to run down and pick them up. It literally happens. I mean, I just want to be real and be honest. I mean, I've forgotten to pick up my son, not pick him up, but I've forgotten that it was time to pick him up. Looked at the clock, and I was like, oh my God, I got to go pick up my son. And it's 15 minutes past the time I was supposed to be there. So these are things that happen. How I deal with that, how do I balance it? I just do. I do the best that I can. I do the very best that I can to ensure that my family has time with me, that I have time with my family, because I need my family and they need me. And so I'm learning to do better. I don't know, someone who's been in this a lot longer than me, maybe they have a better answer or a more solid answer of some structure that they have in place, but I don't know. I don't know if there's a perfect scenario, but all I know is that I try to do the best that I can, to spend time with my family and to give them as much of me as I possibly can.
Right. They know your priorities are straight. They know they love you and they will let you know their needs.
Yeah. And
you won't even have to ask them sometimes.
Exactly. And my wife, she'll remind me, she'll say, listen, we haven't done this, we haven't done that, why don't we take some time and go here or and so they have a way, your kids will come and they'll just, your kids will let you know, like you said, your kids will let you know. They'll just come up to you and grab you and say, listen, and you can kind of feel it. You can sense that I haven't done this in a while. I haven't picked up my kids. I haven't hugged them. I haven't rolled around on the floor with them in a few days. I haven't done this. I haven't sat down with them doing homework in a few days or a week or whatever it's been. And you have that recognition within you. And, I think those are the moments when you really have to stop whatever it is you're doing. If your family is part of your why, you have to stop whatever it is that you're doing, and you have to, give them the due. You have to give it to them. Because what I found is that when I've stopped working to spend time with my kids, to spend time with my wife, it brings me back to why I'm doing what I'm doing in the first place. It reconnects me with them. And they need that connection. That's exactly why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. If that is why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. It certainly is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So those moments, my family remind me. I try to remind myself, but I just do whatever I have to do when those moments pop up. So.
Excellent. Well, that moves to our next question I have. Does your wife support you, and if so, how does that make you feel?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Sure. Does your wife support you, and if so, and how does that make you feel?
Oh, okay. Yeah, my wife is great in that she knows exactly what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to accomplish. And, even though there have been times where things haven't looked as rosy as she would have liked them to, or as we would have liked them to, sometimes you set goals and you say, well, by such and such date, we should be here, we should be there. And if it doesn't happen, sometimes that can cause some friction. Because we all know that to be in business, you have to spend money. And if you are spending more than the time you allotted for it to actually happen, and you're still spending more money, then that can cause friction, especially if the money is coming out of your pocket. You're not making as much money as you're spending. That can be a source of grief. And so my wife has been pretty cool about that. I really champion her, and I hold her up, because she has been great. I mean, I've seen her like want to say something. I don't know if you've ever experienced that where, your significant other, you guys are talking about some things and they've been patient and some things just aren't working out, and they bite their tongue, and you can tell they're biting their tongue, and because there was a time when she didn't bite her tongue. But see, now I know that she's supporting me and that she's fully behind me 100%, because she's holding herself back because she understands that I have to be in a certain mental place. I have to be in a certain, a certain space to be successful. You have to have a certain, positive mentality to go forward and to make things happen. And, she's not being negative. She's not nagging me. She's never really nagged me, although she said something a couple of times in the past, but it was never an ongoing nag. She always knew that there was other things out there that we wanted to experience together. And as a family, our jobs were not going to allow us to do that. And so that we were going to have to do something a little bit different. And working, coming online and having our business online is one of those things that, she has no interest at all in the internet. She doesn't like it. And so I've tried to help. I tried to bring her on board and say, babe, I need your help. If you could help me with this, then we could really knock this out in half the time. But she has no interest in doing that. But what she does do is that she supports me. She tells me I can do it. She knows I can do it. She's seen me do it before, and she's just been a rock. She'll grab the kids and take them and go do stuff while I'm working, if I have to get something done. And that makes me feel like I have what I need as far as her being on board to go forward. I don't have to worry about when the other shoe is going to drop or when the other shoe is going to fall. As far as her getting an attitude about things not working or when are we going to see this huge paycheck or this huge payday or, when is this going to happen? When is that going to happen? I don't have to worry about that because, she's constantly reinforcing me, constantly encouraging me to go forward, and she trusts me to take care of our family, and that's huge for me. That's a huge, huge, huge deal for me. So she's great, and I love her for it, and she's awesome. So, yeah.
That's great. Excellent. Our next question is, what do you see your business in the next 2 to 5 years?
Where do I see my business in the next 3 to 5 years? Well, honestly, I just turned 44 years old. 5 years from now, I will not be doing internet or network marketing on a full-time basis. My goal is to create a business model where it will, in 5 years, 4 years really, 5 years max, I will only have to maintain what I created. The momentum should be self-sustaining, by that point in time, and that's my goal. To build a team, to build a company that has momentum, and have a team of leaders that they don't need me to stand there and push them, to teach them. They've already been taught what they need to do, and they have enough drive, they have enough passion to push forward without me being there. And so that's my goal in 4 years, but at the very least, at the most 5 years. So way before I'm 50 years old, my goal is to be, retired by 50.
Excellent. Great goals. Our last question is, what advice do you have for one getting started on any tips you may have for beginners in network marketing?
Any tips? Someone getting started, and any tips for someone new? I would say the number one thing would be to find a mentor. I heard from one of my mentors, Cedric Harris, is that you don't listen to people who make what you make. You listen to people who make what you want. For an example, if you're a teacher and you have a dream to have your own business, maybe to open your own school, I wouldn't discuss that with other teachers. I would discuss it with someone who's opened a school, someone who runs a school. If you're a construction worker and you want to have your own construction company, I wouldn't discuss that with other construction workers. I would discuss it with people who have a construction company. If you can't personally discuss it with them, I would follow them. I will find out what they're reading. I will find out what they're doing. There's some way to find out what these people are about and their mentality, because it's all about mindset. You can't have, if you want a $1 million business, you can't have a $100,000 mindset or a $50,000 mindset. And that's why I say you have to find people who have what you want, and you follow people who have what you want. And if you can't be personally mentored by them, there is a paper trail. There's a way to find them and find out what they're doing, what they read, who they listen to, who their circle is. That's what I would do. Whoever that person is, whatever that industry is, whatever that company is, whatever that goal is you have in mind, someone has already done it. Someone is actively doing it right now. I would find those people and do what they do. That's really the best advice I could find for I could give to someone who's starting out today. And also, I would find one or two marketing strategies. If you're coming on the internet, you have to find a marketing strategy that fits your budget or your goals. There are two ways to go about it. There are free marketing strategies and there are paid marketing strategies. If you don't have a marketing budget, then you're going to have to spend a lot more time with the free strategies, because the free strategies typically take a little bit longer to manifest themselves. The second part of that equation, if you don't have a lot of time and if you have some money, I would certainly use paid strategies, because paid strategies are more immediate in their results, and you can get a lot more of them. You can get a lot more results a lot quicker with paid strategies. But again, it kind of depends on where you are, and only you know that. If you have money, disposable money that you can use for marketing, paid strategies. And if you don't have a budget, if you're on a really tight budget, I would certainly invest in the free strategies and learn what they are, and definitely understand that it's going to take more than a month. It's going to take more than 2 months. It may take you 4 to 5 months to really see really tangible results that you can use. It could come faster. But typically it doesn't. So those are my tips for anyone coming online or anyone who wants to start out brand new.
Excellent tips, because some people just say, oh, I want to do that, and then have no direction of where to go. And those are great tips, to find a mentor and learn and find those marketing strategies that they can be successful in, even though, maybe that top person you can't do what they're doing quite yet. I heard them later saying that top people will make all the top money, and that's not really possible because they've had to make it there somehow, So learn how they made it there. That's great. Well, tell us more about how people can find you, learn more about yourself.
Well, you can connect with me if you're on Facebook. You can connect with me on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Roger Holmes 40. And you can also connect with me on my blog, Roger Holmes RogerHolmesOnline.com, and Twitter as well. Roger Holmes 40. So those are the three main ways that you can connect with me. And you can also, you're free to give me a call, 510-457-8149. Is another way to connect with me. So I'd love to talk with you more about any of the things that we discussed today. I'm open, I'm honest, and I'll give you the answers to your questions. I won't beat around the bush. So.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Roger, for your insights today. I definitely took some notes and really seeing how I can apply more of these tips to my life. Thank you so much again for that today.
Well, Alecia, I really appreciate the opportunity for this interview, and I thank you for looking me up. And I also just want to say Alecia is somebody that you guys definitely want to pay attention to. You definitely want to connect with her. She is an action taker. She's an up-and-coming rock star in her own right, and I absolutely respect, her hustle. I absolutely respect, what she brings to the table. She brings a ton of value, and she is really, really going to be exploding here in the next year or so. And so I really, really think that if you're on this call, if you're listening to this interview, that more often than not, she'll direct you in the right path, to making things happen online or even offline for that matter. So if you're looking to connect with somebody, Alecia Stringer is definitely someone you want to connect with, and I will do that sooner than later, because there's going to be a point when her name is going to be all over the place, and you might be hard pressed to find her and actually connect with her. But I think now is a great time to connect with her. So Alecia, again, thank you so much for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Yes, Roger, I am honored. Thank you so much. Okay. You have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Do the same. We'll talk again soon.
Great. Bye-bye.